Lady She.
Good evening, everybody. Lady She here from Hot Mic with Lady She Podcast. I am excited about tonight's guest. Listen, y'all, I'm telling you, between Women's History Month, the She's My SHERO series, the Lady She 30-Day Challenge, God is just showing out in the month of March of 2025. You hear me? I am super stoked for this on tonight. Listen, while you're here, if you can, I need you to go and subscribe to Hot Mic with Lady She Podcast on YouTube, where you will find this full episode and others that are part of the She Is My SHERO series. Coach Missy is my third SHERO of the She Is My SHERO series 3, and I am super excited to hear what this woman has to say to my viewers, to her viewers, and I just want to thank you in advance. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing tonight, lady?
I'm amazing. I am amazing. I'm just want to jump in because there's so much to unpack. You know, let me say this to you guys. This is what I love about what God does. So Missy and I actually met through social media with the podcast. We're in the same podcast group. Shout out to David Shands.
Yep.
Giving us the blueprint, okay? Not being a gatekeeper. Giving us the blueprint, and you know, everybody was just up there encouraging each other, pushing each other, you know, and I ain't gonna hold you. Some people have fallen off. Some are still rocking, and I'm here for it. You know, Missy's still doing her thing, and I've watched her grow, and it's inspiring, it's encouraging, and it is what I need you guys to tap into, because God has no respect of person. So if he can do it for her, if he can do it for me, he can do it for you as well.
Everybody, happy Monday. I am your favorite trauma coach, trauma recovery coach.
All right.
To my core, I am everything trauma recovery. Yeah. But just like Lady She said, we met a couple years back, and we were in a podcasting group. And first of all, I started my podcast. It's called The Silent Fight.
Right.
And I created the platform so that people can have an opportunity to authentically tell their story. I didn't want people to have to come on my show and be scripted, because oftentimes when we're telling our story and someone tries to put us in this box, we lose sight of what we want to deliver to the world.
Right.
So my platform is very much authentic. I open it up to everybody who is very heart-centered and serious about their situation. I don't gatekeep. I don't care about anything behind the scenes besides changing the world for the greater good. On top of being a creator of The Silent Fight, I am a published author. Right now, I think I'm 4-time published author. So I've published my own book. It's called Quoted. You guys see it behind me. 40 Quotes to Shape a Mogul Mindset.
Yes.
And I utilize quotes so that I can give you guys an introduction of who I am and the things that molded me to be the woman that I am today. It touches on a little bit of my trauma and a little bit of my experience, but I highlight the people that I keep closely around me and the advice that they've given me. So I feel like if they've given it to me, it was worthy of sharing it with the world.
Right. Right.
I'm in 3 anthologies. All are relationship books. One I'm working on right now is called Taking the Shades Off. I did Unbound, Breaking Free from Domestic Violence.
Yes.
And then it was another one. I honestly forgot the name of it. It was when I started this journey. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a single mother. I just really take this journey very serious. I'm from Chicago, born and raised. I just turned 41 years old.
Yes, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And
so I was just always a little girl who was very optimistic, right? No matter what was going on in the world, I was very, very optimistic because I came from a lot of love. When you guys follow me, you'll see that I always pay homage to my mother, Francine Neal. My mother was a 700-pound Black woman from the north side or the south side of Chicago. She raised her kids on the north side. And I mean, this lady was one of the most brilliant minds I've ever encountered, right?
Right.
Straight hardcore problem solver. Never, nothing ever stopped her in her tracks. Do you understand what
Right.
I'm saying?
Since you did bring up your mom, you did bring you're from Chicago. Tap into what your childhood was like, because being a trauma recovery coach, you clearly went through some things to take you to this place to be able to teach other people about it. So
Mm-hmm.
being in an environment where there's love, kind of share a little bit, if you can kind of get in more depth about the dynamics of your household.
So to my point, that's what I was trying to segue
Yeah.
into. So with seeing the things that my mother endured, when I went outside, I was very much optimistic. So where other people were dealing with things, like the friends that I kept closely around me, they were dealing with so much stuff within their household. And then when they come out into the world, they would just pour it out into the world. Does that make sense? Well,
Absolutely.
me, when I'm going in the world, I'm just always sunshine. I'm always wanting to love on the next person. I was the person who stood up for the people that were getting bullied on. I just always felt like people should have their voice. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right.
There was times where, of course, we had to lash out, and I had to be the lower version of myself, but I was always pushed into that situation because all I really wanted to do was put love into the world, and I couldn't understand why people couldn't accept this love, right?
Right, right, right.
So to your question of how I end up becoming a trauma coach, I'm a single mother. So I didn't go through things personally as a child, as a little girl. But again, my mother was 700 pounds and she was a Black woman and she was one of the most intelligent women I've ever known, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you let yourself get to 700 pounds?
Right, right, right.
What were you dealing with mentally?
Right, right, right.
And she had the answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
She knew to work out. She was very health conscious. When my mother would go to the doctor for herself, she would have a conversation with doctors as if she went to medical school.
Right,
And
right.
everybody would say, do you have medical experience?
Mm-hmm.
So she kept me close. She loved on me. And she died on me in 2021.
Wow, 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 wow.
She died on me. She
Mm.
died. And
So
throughout my journey,
how many siblings do you have?
I have three siblings. So I have an older brother, I have a younger brother, and I have a sister. And I also have a brother that's deceased. I have four. He passed away in 2019.
Wow, wow, wow. Ooh, 2019 was a rough one.
He passed away in 2019, and I had to deal with that.
Right,
And then I had to deal with the COVID thing in the world.
right.
I was already working in the psychiatric field, and I knew that this was my purpose, right? But you know
Right.
how we procrastinate on things and we say what we're gonna do. So I had talked to my mom when podcasting became popular, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna start a podcast. It's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I'm gonna start a podcast. But
Right,
I also was heavy in the psychiatric field.
right.
And so I had this vision in my head, and then when my mom died, I just had to heal myself. To
Yeah,
answer your
yeah, yeah.
question, I needed a place to heal myself.
Right, right. So let me ask you this, because one of the things I know, I've been Black all my life. I can't speak about no other culture, but I
Mm-hmm.
know with us as children, and when we see our parents going through situations, sometimes we don't always understand the depth of it. We
Mm-hmm.
find the good in it.
Yeah.
So I thank you for saying that your mother loved on you and she had this intellect, but you also understand now as an adult there was something else going on that what where she would allow herself to be 700 pounds. And one of the things I know about us in the Black culture is sometimes what happens is the roles will switch. The mother and the dad who's supposed to be taking care of the children, now the children are taking care of the mom and the dad because they had their issues going on. So that's something that was going on with you at home, and that's why now you're such a giver of information and of healing and of restoration, because these are things that you were shown growing up.
See, that wasn't my narrative. So my father was always around.
Oh,
My stepdad was always around. My
okay.
uncles was always around. So the things that you guys see me display on social media is because it's a direct reflection of my upbringing. My
Your
mother on
village,
the,
your village.
it was my village. So that's
Right.
how I know how to give. That's the only thing I seen. My mother was 700 pounds. She
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do much. She couldn't get up and go to the event. She
Right.
did when she was able to, but
Right.
when life happened and set her completely down, I saw her give of her heart endlessly.
Right.
And it
Right.
don't matter how much you broke her down, as long she'll allow you to bend her, but she wouldn't let you break her, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I watched her. I
Mm-hmm.
watched her. But I also watched when we were talking about what was going on mentally,
Mm-hmm.
she protected her family as well, not just her children. So you're
Right.
talking about her siblings. And
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother had heart failure. My grandmother had so many medical conditions because first of all, she had my mom when she was in her 40s, I believe. Right?
Okay.
So she's the older parent, and my mother is the baby of 7.
Right.
And
Right.
I think
Right.
her closest sibling was like, my uncle was like 2 years older than her.
Mm-hmm.
And he got to doing what he was doing. But basically, she was the one, the youngest one typically is the one that's left with the
Hold
mother.
it down. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
she was loving on her family, man, and she was being stretched so thin, but her heart was so strong. And I
Right.
feel like she just neglected who she was to love on other people.
Right. 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 Got you. Got you. Got you. So let me tap in. So let me just share with the people, some of the things you have going on. So Missy, say your full name. I call you Missy, but they don't know you as Missy. Tell her your full name, please.
I am Mysoline Monique.
Coach Mysoline Monique. She is a podcast host. She is a trauma recovery coach. She is a domestic violence advocate. She's an actress. She's a radio personality, and she is a business strategist. So I just wanted to say that to them so they can understand why you're up here and all the other questions that I'm going to get to that they may have because I see them saying stuff in the chat. So with you having the childhood that you had and now you being a mom, how did you get to a place where you enjoy domestic violence?
So I started with domestic violence early as a teenager. It started as a teenager.
And why do you think that was? Or do you know?
I feel like, so again, the family that I come from, we have our problems, but when it's time to show up for family, we're showing up, if that makes sense.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, you're not going to catch my family with all the rigmarole out in public. We
Uh-huh.
could be behind closed doors and we going to discuss our problems and have it may be, but when it's time for the village to show up, the village is going to show up.
Right.
So with that being said, majority of my family is either with the first man that they gave their heart to or the second person that stepped up and loved on them and they're married. You get me?
Right. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
when I end up having children by this man, I thought that was ordained by God because I don't believe in marriages. Not really. Now I do, but I didn't before because people don't care about how sacred marriage is, right? But when I had kids by this man, I felt like that paper can be replaced, but these kids are undoubtedly from God, right?
Okay.
So I thought that, first of all, I didn't even know that I didn't even look at myself as a victim. And I didn't look at myself as a victim because I always fought back. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I by no means disrespect any male that I come across. I love my black men. I love you to my core. They're surrounded. I'm surrounded by them. I would never disrespect them. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
But at the same time, I'm not going to allow you to put your hands on me. So
Right.
whereas I've never had a black eye, I've never been to the point where I was afraid for my safety. I turned into the aggressor.
Right. Right. Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Thank you for saying that because a lot of times, unfortunately, sometimes women won't even own that part. They'll just be like, because I went through this, and they won't even own and say, I was fighting him. we used to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not saying
Mm-hmm.
it's right or wrong, but a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
you don't hear the women actually own. And if you
Mm-hmm.
do, it's women who are like you, who are actually advocates, and they realized
Mm-hmm.
this is actually what I was going through. When I'm thinking we just thumping and it's normal, now looking back, that wasn't normal because there was
Yeah.
mental involved too. So can you kind
Yeah.
of tap into, because it sounds like, and this is what a lot of times, like I said, I've been black all my life, so I can only speak on us. A lot of times we don't even realize until later on as we get older that the whole everything that goes on in our house stays in our house has actually damaged us a lot. You understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying? The whole when you get married, you stay with that man has
Yeah.
damaged us generation after generation. So I truly, truly, thank you for sharing that. So being this young lady starting in your teens, feeling like this is who I'm with and I have children by this person, how did it affect your kids? Because I don't want to answer for you, but I'm thinking a lot of times kids just love their parents. They don't see the wrong that goes on. They don't see how dad is wrong and how mom is wrong. They just like, we love them. So how did it affect your children, you going through the domestic violence and stuff?
So here's the thing about that. I didn't subject my kids to any of the things that was going on. That was the liberating part for me. You understand what I'm saying?
What does
So
that look like when you say you didn't subject them?
so if he was around and he was getting real disrespectful, I would just talk him down respectfully, but being firm. Make sense?
Okay.
So I'm constantly being yelled at. I'm constantly being disrespected. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just answering the questions and really trying to respect this man in the eyes of my children until it got to the point where I just had to snap back. So if I snapped back, it was just like an argument situation. It never got physical, but I ended it quick, if that makes sense. It was
Yeah.
I'm gonna say what I say and that's it.
Okay.
And at that point, I can tell you that my oldest son is 22 and my baby just turned 17 years old. It was literally 3 incidents that they witnessed in that manner.
You mean
So
physically or the verbal and stuff?
the verbal. I
Okay.
was very, very mindful to protect them from that. That was again my saving grace. So when he came around and that was his energy, that was my cutoff.
So let me ask you this. One of the questions that I always ask, and the most judgmental subject is always to the women or the man. Because let me be clear. This is not just about the females. I'm asking Coach Missy about this stuff because this also happens to our men. So this is not me discounting the men's experience. Trust me, I know. I know. My question is that most people ask is, why would you stay?
So again, the union between us for my kids. I didn't even live with my abuser more than 8 months. And
Oh,
we stayed together 17 and a half years.
I'm sorry. Wait, what?
We stayed together 17 and a half years
Living
and
separately?
we lived apart.
Oh,
Do
wow.
you hear what I'm saying? So it was all mental for me. That's why when I coach, I
Yeah.
tell people it was mental. I didn't
Yeah.
come from this.
Right.
I choose to allow him to even come into my household and but again, I didn't get disrespected when I allowed him into my space. It was when he did that, now I disconnected. Does it make sense? So
Gotcha.
now I ain't got time for your energy. I'm not finna do it. But because he knew that this was the outcome, it was gonna be something we had to get into a fight.
Mm.
We had to get into a fight and I turn into the aggressor every time. So just picture I'm getting grabbed or choked up or something. And then it's like I went through a metamorphosis because don't touch me.
Yeah. So it becomes, so what she's speaking about is some of us who have dealt with trauma, we go through something called disassociation.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally disconnect from the reality of what you're in the moment and you
Mm-hmm.
respond in that manner. So
Mm-hmm.
when people ask someone who's going through domestic violence, why do they stay? They don't sometimes have an answer. And that's what basically Missy's saying. Because 17 years is a long time to be with someone going through these things, even though y'all live apart. And that's
Yes.
how powerful the mind is. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? That's how powerful the mind is.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing that. So as an advocate and you going through what you went through, What is have you ever dealt with? Now, first of all, let me ask you this. As an advocate, is this something that is like self-titled, or did you go to school for this? Because I know you mentioned you worked in a psychiatric area, meaning like, what was your title in that?
This is all self-titled. My title in the psychiatric field was I was a behavior health tech.
Okay, so what
I
is
was a
that
behavior health tech, and I was a floor level counselor. So it's just basically what I do now, that I've created a business out of, that I've done my own personal training. I just basically talk to people on the floor. So I specialize in verbal de-escalation. When I first started in this field, we did hands-on, what do you call that? Restraints. Where
okay.
If somebody get aggressive, we was able to go hands-on. Now,
Right.
again, I'm from Chicago. I'm from the streets. I know I don't have to be told that people don't like to put their hand, don't touch me.
Right.
It's my one rule. I just got through telling y'all that. I took all the verbal abuse and the disrespect and whatever, but the moment you touch my body, I turn into somebody different.
Right.
So with this mindset, I got in the field and I just started soaring. Like literally in training, man. Y'all wouldn't believe in training. I called my mom because my mom spoke life into me years ago, man. She said, you need to be a counselor. You need to be a teacher. You need to be a counselor. And I said, I don't like people. I don't want people in my space. I don't want that. I just go to work and do whatever I do. Man, but when I went through that training, y'all, it was like my light had been lit. And I said, Mama, you got your dream. I could literally love on people, which is what I love to do.
Right.
And I love to use my words to transform your mind. And ever since then, sis, I just been going. Going.
I love that. Ooh, I'm dropping things. Love that. So now, I love that you shared, because I was definitely going to ask you about the book. Quoted. I know you mentioned in your feedback from my questionnaire, I wanted you to tap into what is a mogul to you, because you mentioned that it helps you to shape a mogul mindset, and I want you to tap into that because I want people to understand there's so many ways to make money. You know what I'm saying? Especially digitally. So when it comes to the quotes, I'm big on that. I have a stationery line. I have all these different things connected to affirmations. I got the t-shirts and all these things. It's always connected to feeding your mind these positive things. Now, with the book, are these your actual words, or is this something else that you tapped into? Like, how does that go?
It's a mixture of my personal quotes, things that just like my aha moments, and it's famous quotes in there from people that we know, like Maya Angelou, Oprah Winfrey.
Right.
I got some rappers. I got some Bible quotes. I got life in there, because life is really life, right?
Yeah.
And people may not remember this whole interview, but they're gonna pull something out of it. They're gonna remember. they gonna take a quote. And so I put it in my book. I didn't want to do an autobiography right now because I feel like I'm still figuring out my journey.
Yes.
And so quotes is my thing, man. I live by quotes. So I put it in there. So to answer your question, what a mogul is a person that's multifaceted. And this is how you know, because every mainstream celebrity, successful person, they have multiple streams of income.
Right.
They have multiple streams of income. And so you got to know how to pivot. You got to know how to take disappointment. You got to have you got to have resilience like no other if you want to make it in this game. You got to be a visionary, but you got to be humble. You got to be a forever student. So a mogul is a person that really is relentless and is not going to stop at anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When my mother died, when God started putting it together, or when I start being obedient to my calling, he just started putting the pieces of the puzzle together. He started putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And I said, nah, that's not what you want me to do. And then I just said, well, what shall I fear? My mother is dead.
Come on.
My mother is dead.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people have lost a parent.
Listen, 2019, honey, I know all about it. I'm telling you, it's different. It's different. You don't know until you're there.
So a mogul is able to take those things and it just re-energizes me.
Right,
I
right.
let everything lead me to my purpose, you know? I let everything lead me to my purpose. It don't matter what I go through, man. I just be like, that stung a little bit, but I got to keep going because otherwise it's pointless.
It's pointless.
I,
Come
I
on,
can't stop. I
Missy.
can't stop now. It's
Let's
pointless.
go.
I didn't
Let's
go through all
get it.
this for nothing.
Let's
You
go.
know,
Let's go.
so you just gotta a mogul, put yourself in the world and be determined to change the world. I'm determined to change the world, man.
Love this.
I
Love
really
this.
want
Love
to
this.
change the world.
I love this. So when it comes to, the coaching, so, I had a guest come on one time and they changed their name on social media to Coach such and such. And I was like, hey, what's going on? I was like, I was like, oh, I can implement that into our interview or whatever. I was like, I think I asked something like, well, what school did you go to? And they were like, oh yeah, no, I just took a class on the weekend. I went to an event and they were like, if you stay for the course or whatever, you can get licensed. Mm-hmm. And that made me nervous. I was like, time out. Like, I know I be hearing about pastors and people doing that and, think people are being exposed and revealed for not really going to school for different things. And I'm like, it made me pray because I'm like, listen, people really going through trauma, just like you and I shared a second ago. We both understand, about dealing with grief and trying to push through life without having this person who's been in your life your whole life. So now you have to try to navigate and reach to God and have these affirmations and connect with people who can lift you up when you're in pain because you missed a certain person that you will never see again. So hearing that a person just went to some event and they leave with a certificate saying you're a coach, that made me nervous. So what is your education connected to being licensed to be a trauma recovery coach? Because that's a big deal.
So I have a degree in criminal justice.
Okay.
So I got an education and I got certified in dialectical behavior therapy, talk therapy.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I just became a member of a lot of organizations that are focused on mental health. Okay. And I decided to create my own program. And I just use my experience and I'm really authentic with it. So I'm really, really careful not to use terminology that people will see in a typical psychiatric facility, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it's basically like a life coach, but I focus on trauma recovery.
Right.
So I'm deep into my training and things like that. So basically my program is just my own experience combined with the education that I have.
Okay. So it's basically education that you've had throughout, your journey. It's not like specific, like, okay, I don't put it on my page, but I'm a life and health coach. I actually went to a school for that exact thing. So that's why I'm saying I got licensed for that exact thing. So that's what I'm asking because, people can get caught up in the titles. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, listen, I do what God calls me to do. I don't need a title. And I'm not doing nothing that's gonna hurt nobody. So you know what I'm saying? It's whatever. But when it comes to trauma, people have gone through so much and people are still going through so much. So they want a safe space with someone who really can tackle what they're going through. So that's why I wanted you to kind of tap into, what the background is, because I know from my platform, people have reached out to me and be like, Shanice, I want to just let you know, I now have a new student or I now have a new mentee or whatever the case may be because they actually saw me on your podcast. So I understand you're in a position where people are going to see you and they're going to hear you and they're going to be like, yo, Missy said it, so let me just go and do it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that is for somebody.
Ma'am.
That is for somebody. Your gifts are not for you. Your journey is for somebody else.
And you know what? I'm so glad that you said that because a lot of things that I am just now birthing into the world, y'all wouldn't believe that these seeds was planted years ago.
Oh, yeah.
years ago, but because of what you just said is why I was so sincere about my education, about what I'm delivering to the world, because I know I work in this field every day. I know the power of your words. Politics show you the power of your words. Influencers show you the power of your words. But I always think about, I don't want to be the person that somebody was depending on and I was their last hope, and it didn't work out for me. It didn't work out. Does that make sense? I don't want it. I don't want it on my conscience, because again, I see it every day. When I'm not doing nothing, y'all wouldn't believe with all the stuff I got going on, when I'm not doing absolutely nothing, I still go and serve in the hospital. I still go and serve in the hospital because I get to see people in a full-blown psychosis right as soon as they in the height of their psychosis, and I get to use my words and talk them down. That's so therapeutic to me. So those are the things that I bring to my coaching, and I let people know that you really can do this on a practical level if you just tap in, and if you are really empathetic and you sincere. Because if you sit through the trainings of the people that have the PhDs and things like that, they're really saying the exact same thing. That's why you have say that. That's why you have some people that are so profound, because they step out and say something different. They teach you as an entrepreneur how to be a cookie cutter, how to be a cookie cutter. And I don't want people to get caught up in mental health and trauma recovery. Is about knowing how to expose yourself to an unimaginable amount of love and positivity. Self-awareness and accountability. It teaches you strategies, and it teaches you how to implement those strategies into your life. It basically teaches you how to be a robot, because when your mind is already wired to do exactly what you do. So when you're dealing with trauma and you want to feel better, you have to make yourself feel better all the time. And unconsciously, you'll heal yourself, because that's how our minds are wired. They're wired to be programmed to what we truly want, even the things that we don't know. How many times we did something and we like, how we do that? Oh, I knew whole time what I was doing, but I didn't see it, right? So I take that same approach with trauma recovery. Just give it a try.
I love that. I love that.
It doesn't really matter. For people that's watching, let me tell you this. Whatever you've gone through, that's a part of your story. Whatever your story is, it now becomes your superpower. What you guys see us doing now, we learn how to sell our story. You can be the most powerful person in the world by just telling your story. So you went through it. That ain't got nothing to do with you. You ain't do nothing to cause that. If you didn't do nothing to cause it. Most times people that's dealing with traumatic situations didn't do nothing to cause that, right? We aware that we hurt. We aware of the person that hurt us, of the situation. You just got to make a decision that you are going to heal from that. You got to make a decision that that's what you're going to do.
That's it.
Sitting in the narrative of the story ain't going to heal you. Most times we be fighting. We don't heal from our trauma because the person won't say sorry. Who cares?
Ooh, come on and talk to somebody.
Who cares? The most liberating things to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to simply not care.
Listen, you know what I said to somebody literally today, Missy? This is why I know this is God right now in this moment. I had to say to somebody this year, because they kept saying, because I just want clarity. I said, no. I said, God hit me before the new year started, and he said, your word is acceptance. Y'all will be going 10 years to my son. I just needed clarity, and they didn't tell me why. Forget why. Just deal with what is and go from there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Deal with what is. Deal with what the facts are. That hurt you, that's a fact. They didn't tell you why they did it or what's going to happen next. That's also a fact. You have to choose to command your own life with the information that you already have. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be breaking your own heart, trying to figure it out. Some stuff, God don't want us to figure out. He just wants to trust him. So while you talking about something, I need clarity, and why didn't they tell me why they did it? Baby, you may never find out. What you going to do, just sit in that?
That's right.
You got to make a choice.
That's right.
You either gonna choose to move on and use that as your plateau or your catalyst to the next level, or you're gonna be sitting and doing nothing but being in pain while that person or that situation is moved on. You ain't even in thought. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, thank you so much for sharing that, because that right there was powerful, and it was confirmation about what I was sharing with somebody literally today. If Missy chose to just sit and be like, wow, I went through domestic violence. Oh my goodness, I lost my mom. Oh my goodness, my kids saw me go through this. She would not be able to help other people because she would be crippled by her story. Do you understand what I'm saying? The things that we're choosing to do, it doesn't mean that it's something that doesn't affect us, because God deals with the messenger first. You understand what I'm saying? Everything that Missy needed, she's now for someone else. So when you wake up every day and you have those goals set and you have those affirmations and these things going, remember, it's not about you. Because you don't know who's going to see you. You don't know who's going to hear you, and what that can change for them. So let me ask you this. Dealing with, people who have dealt with domestic violence, people who have dealt with different traumas, have you ever actually lost someone that you were coaching and or mentoring through their trauma, and they either committed suicide, or maybe they went back to the domestic violence situation, or maybe, the person took their life? Have you ever dealt with something like traumatic like that since you've been doing this?
I've never lost anybody while I was coaching, but I have had a couple people that go back into their situation.
Yeah.
And they come back.
Right.
They come back. Statistics show you that people, they return into a situation 7 times. And to have that understanding is what gives you the empathy to keep on going. Right. Even myself, I told y'all, I only lived with this man for 8 months. I kept allowing this disrespect and this abuse into my life. I allowed it into my life. I was safe. The things that most women don't have, I had that safety. I was working. I was taking care of my kids. I had my own shelter. I had no reason to go back. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But my cousin died from domestic violence. I have a cousin that died from domestic violence. Her husband beat her in the head with a hammer.
Wow.
He beat her in the head with a hammer, and it was my first cousin. It was my mother's first brother, his baby girl.
His daughter. Wow.
Yeah, my cousin Katina Neal Andrews.
Yeah.
It was the father of her child. She's also what motivates me every day, because I feel like I don't know why my family accepted that like that. As selfish as that may sound. And I'm not promoting anything that's negative. It's just that it kind of like made me resonate with the things that we talk about every day, about the family secrets or the things that happen in family people just submit to.
Yeah.
I felt like that should have been handled a lot differently. I feel like even like she was an amazing human. She was an amazing human that made a choice to love somebody, and that ended her story. So that's real personal for me. I feel
so
like
let me ask you this. When you say, because I want the people to have clarity. So when you say, I don't know why my family handled it like that, what do you mean in reference to? You don't know why nobody put hands on them, or I'm
I'm being real. That's how I really feel. And because not only did he kill her, he really like dishonored her. He had women in her house. He went and changed her new car to something he wanted. And like everybody was watching him for 6 months, and he stayed cool like he didn't do anything.
Wow.
And I felt like, I'm not going to advocate for nobody to take his life, but I felt like he should have been made known that he affected our family. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I felt like, and I'm saying that because I come from a family that's about that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Listen, I told you I got you.
They about it. Y'all about that.
Yeah.
Why was this okay?
Yeah.
So even going through my situation, right? Even going through my situation, that was also a reason to fight. It was a reason to fight. I choose to stay here, but you're going to respect me at all costs. I'm not getting disrespected. I'm not getting disrespected. You know what I mean? Because I know with this. So, and with that, not trying to play tough, I was always very transparent with my family. Even to this day, at 41 years old, my family knows exactly who I'm dating. They know exactly every little situation that happens. They know the moment that that person stepped foot in my house, because the one thing I don't want to happen is because anytime we date, we have a chance that may be our story, right or wrong.
Right, for sure.
I don't want that person sitting up around my family, and that's the person that did something to me.
So I got you.
You know.
For sure. Listen, thank you so much for sharing that. Woo, come on, Missy. Come in hot, sis. Let's get it. So now, acting. Where did that come from?
So, girl, so funny enough, it just, I knew you was going to bring that up.
Give it to us raw. Keep that same energy.
So listen. I was targeted. It was somebody that was watching my podcast, have followed my journey very closely, you know, and I'm out here and I'm trying to create these opportunities for myself. I just really want to heal people. So, and however God give it to me, I'm gonna take it, right? And so that person came and they targeted me. But you know, I'm just as stupid enough to follow.
Don't be calling yourself stupid. Do not be doing that. We don't do that up here.
I mean,
what do you mean targeted? So they know what you're talking about, because we hear that. Listen, the lady, she 3 E's, educate, encourage. So and look, I'm laughing so hard I can't even. Let the people know, okay?
So listen, when I say targeted, I mean that in this life of influencers, people will sit back and watch your motion.
Absolutely.
They'll find out your message.
Absolutely.
And that's the one thing that they are going to use to bait you in. That's the one thing they're going to use to bait you in. So the person knew my whole story.
Right.
They created the opportunity for me so that it would fit me and act like this was going to be life-changing to myself. And now all of my hard work has finally ended and I finally made it to the big time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But here's the thing that people don't really know about me. I'm an opportunity and education junkie. I'm a junkie for it. I'm a junkie for it. So any opportunity that resonates with me, I'm going to go forth.
Right.
And now look, because I accepted that opportunity, now I've met some amazing people all around the world that now I form strong partnerships with.
Yes.
You know, I just believe. So it was just an opportunity that I was targeted, and the person thought that I was going to be the victim, and the whole time it turns out that it was little old me.
Come on, God.
Touch not my, hey, let me tell you something. Touch not my anointing and do my prophet no harm. I don't really care about too much or nothing, but I know that I'm safe. Whenever you're doing God's work, you have to be safe. You have to be. God keep me covered in situations that I didn't even know I was in, that didn't even, y'all, when I say I have a testimony on this journey. So it just popped up, the opportunity popped up, but I actually like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I love it.
So I appreciate quote unquote being victimized. I appreciate it.
Listen. What they say when a person think they throwing dirt on you, but they don't realize you throwing out that dirt. Come on now, that's God.
And that's truly me. Just don't physically hurt me and keep my body safe so that I can return to the people that love me. And I don't really care about nothing else. Because if I was there, God placed me there. If I return from there, I really know God placed me there. So whatever the opportunity that it was promised, I don't really care about that. Because as a matter of fact, I didn't even sign a contract. I didn't even sign a contract because I'm building my own organization. Contracts don't do nothing for me. I create contracts. If I accept the contract in my hand, it's because I want to look formalities. Does that make sense? I want to see how the big people do it. I'm my brand. So you
Yeah.
can't manipulate that. It's going to go the
Well,
way it's going to go, the way that I want it to go, or it's
mhm.
not going to go at all, as humbly as I could say that.
I love it. Listen, so now you are connected to this amazing opportunity from a homegirl from my town, Miss Yolanda Brathwaite. Like, how'd you get connected to her with this play, honey?
Being targeted. Being targeted. The opportunity came from what you said. I connected one of the actresses that was my girl Tamara. Shout out to Tamara. Tamara connected me with Yolanda, and she said, "You just gotta meet her. Y'all energies match up. Y'all just gotta do this." So now I'm helping put on a play in Chicago. They bringing a play to Chicago.
Woo,
Tales
woo.
of a Grown Girl remastered. So it's going down in Chicago. So
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I just want to, for those who came on late, I just want to break down everything really quick, and then we can close. You know, I truly thank you. And this is what I love about God, and I tell people all the time, and you basically kind of tapped into it, connected to opportunities. You know, with me, I pray a lot. So I'm very, very mindful and intentional with what God tells me to do, connected to, because this is his platform. My name just happened to be on it. This is his. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what I try to explain to people a lot of times is, even when I have people on my heart, I have to wait for him. So I understand now more than ever, because me and you met years ago, how we met, but look at how he did that now, and look at how far you've come, and look at all that you're doing, and look at the lives that you're touching, all the different things, your children, everybody's flourishing around you. And I keep saying, everything attached to me wins. So if I met you in some type of way, you're going to be blessed. You understand what I'm saying? So I love his timing is always perfect. And I just want to thank you, you know, with every part of me, for sharing your story. And I want to encourage you, my sister. I'm praying for you and rooting for you to keep doing your work, because somebody needs you. You understand what I'm saying? I also want to say to you from my heart, I'm out here motherless. You know, our mothers are proud of us. They watched us. They know what we could have turned out to be, but God. You know what I'm saying? The prayers of the righteous avail of much, honey. I know all about it. So you are anointed for this. And don't forget it. You understand what I'm saying? Don't forget it. Don't forget it. So closing, what do I have here? Child, I have so many questions I didn't even ask. Mad questions I ain't asked. So leave us, you know, with something. Let me do this. 2 things. And it could end up being one. What would you tell your 5 and 6-year-old self, knowing what you know now, so that you wouldn't endure or you wouldn't encounter the trauma that you did? What would you tell that 5 and 6-year-old Missy in your house with your siblings, seeing and hearing the things that you saw and you heard, going outside and pouring into people? What would you tell her that could change the trajectory of your life?
So I wrote a pledge. It's called the Fighter's Pledge. I have a voice in this world, and I deserve to be heard. I have an obligation to fight for all those around me. But most importantly, I have an obligation to fight for myself. I would tell her to just keep fighting.
Yeah.
Just keep fighting.
I felt that.
Just keep fighting.
Shoo, 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 shoo. So the second question was going to be, what would you tell my audience, knowing what you know now? And part of that was, it could be the same thing you would tell the 5-year-old you.
I would tell them the exact same thing.
I figured
just keep fighting.
I love it. I figured that.
I'm telling y'all, it has to work out. It has to work out.
Yeah.
Just make sure your heart is pure. I don't do anything out of malicious. Nothing. Not even to my enemies. I always pray for them. Pray for them, guys. Pray for them, God. Remove them from me. I don't let people, because now the way that I move in purpose, and it has to be pleasing to God. That's the only thing that matters. And if you make sure your heart is pure, you are going to always win. You're going to always win.
Love that. Love that. Woo! Listen, straight out of Chicago, Chi-Town. She comes to play, you heard? Listen, Missy, I am just in awe. My heart is fluttering like, listen, this was everything I knew it could be and more. Once again, I truly, truly thank you for blessing this platform. Let the people know where they can find you and everything.
Everybody, make sure that you are following me on all social media platforms. The Silent Fight Podcast is me. You're gonna see the lips and you're gonna know that that's me. I am Coach Mysoline Monique. You also can tap into my website. My email is ask@coachmysoline.org. And my website is coachmysoline.org/trauma queen.
Yeah. Listen, you heard my sis. She ain't come here to play. You hear me? Chi-Town in the building. Listen, with all the ... all the work being done. She said, listen, the titles is cool, but I am putting in the work because I am obligated to do so. And from her lips, she said, keep fighting. This was so good, Missy. Like, I'm so godly proud of you, Queen. Like, I'm telling you, I'm around if you need it. If I got it, you got it. You hear me?
I love you so much.
Oh,
It is so humbling. Let me end this with this because we'll keep on talking, y'all.
I know.
On this journey to trauma recovery, on this journey to success, you have to surround yourself by amazing people. Yes. It is such an honor to see you thriving and striving and changing the world. I be like, look at my girl. Look at my girl.
Let's
Congratulations, go. Man. Congratulations. This journey. You make it easier. Yeah. You make it easier, man. You make it easier. Thank you for your service. I really appreciate your platform and all the work that you are doing in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Listen, it's God, honey. I give him all the glory, all the honor. It's just little, as I say, little me, big him. Like,
yes.
Little she, big he. That's all I got. I'm telling you. Listen, guys, you heard her. Make sure you contact. I keep calling you Missy. I'm so sorry. Make sure you guys contact Coach Mysoline Monique on all social media platforms. She is putting that work. Make sure you guys tap in. If you are in the Chicago area, she's connected to the Play Grown Girls remastered in Chi-Town. The writer, Miss Yolanda Brathwaite, is from Hempstead, New York. She is traveling with her production. Super proud of her as well. Everybody involved, the cast and crew. Missy is doing her thing. If you were touched by anything that this young woman said on tonight, please, sir, please, ma'am, do not be afraid to reach out. It's a safe space. She's doing her work. She got you. You hear me? And if she don't got you in a way that you need help, she gonna direct you to somebody who will. Okay, we don't gatekeep around here. Okay,
that's the part.
We put in the work. If we can't do it, we gonna find somebody else that's gonna hook you up. You hear me? So with that, please, like she said, keep fighting. I love that. That thing, I'm gonna be journaling tonight, child. That thing got me. Keep fighting. I felt that for so many reasons in so many areas of my heart right now. Keep fighting. Keep going. Remember who you are. God makes no mistakes. He has no respect of person. Everything you've gone through, your story can save somebody else. Y'all hear me? That's what we got with it. So, Hi Michael Lady Podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys are following. Missy is my third SHERO. Woo woo! Oh my goodness, these women are coming in hot for Women's History Month of 2025, guys. You want to tap in and get these nuggets, get these jewels from these queens, honey. My third SHERO, Coach Mysoline Monique. Check out the She's My SHERO Series 3 on my YouTube channel, Hot Michael Lady She Podcast on YouTube. Everybody have an amazing night. Good night.